he is now co-host of the Deviant podcast. Andrew, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for
Israel
having me, Nancy.
Keys. Do you hear how casually he's describing? He says she was out on the river, a river you can float down with inner tubes, and she was near the end. It's just like the slowest gazelle, Drew. The slowest gazelle is the one the hyena grabs. And that's
Yep.
exactly what he does. I mean,
Yeah.
if a hyena could talk, it would be him. And he so casually describes grabbing her as the rest of the group goes away. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I drove through McDonald's, I got a Diet Coke. Are
Yeah.
you surprised at how casual he is?
It's really shocking, honestly, when you listen to the hours of his conversations with authorities. The thing that is so mind-boggling is the callous, cold, detached demeanor with which he outlines all of his crimes, and even some of the crimes that he doesn't really confess to, right? What we learned listening to him talk to police is that he loves to walk right up to the edge of a confession and then stop right short of giving them the
Okay, hold
information
on.
they need. Yeah.
Drew, aka Andrew Iden. Hold on just a moment. We talked about this over and over on the NG show at HLN.
Right.
Let me go to Daryl Cohen. Daryl Cohen, courtroom superstar, former felony prosecutor, now defense attorney. You can find him at Cohen, Cooper, Estep, and Allen. Daryl, how many times did we have, a full-fledged criminal, just a bad guy? And it's typically a he. People say, why do you hate men? I don't hate men. I just hate men that commit violent crimes. He would go all the way up to the moment and say something like, yeah, we were driving along and I looked out the window and poof, I heard a gunshot. And at that moment, that one critical moment, as Andrew is describing, leads you all the way up to the moment of the murder and then backs off.
Nancy, so often, because most, or at least many of those who have committed these heinous crimes cannot admit it to themselves. They believe that what they were doing was a story, they were in a fairy tale, they were wonderful people, and oh my gosh, I don't know how that happened. The gun went off. I didn't have the gun. Did I really? Maybe, sure, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah.
These
Yeah. Was
people,
that me that pulled the trigger? And another thing, and I want to know if you've noticed this. Bobby Chacon is joining us, special agent, FBI, former special agent, now screenwriter for Criminal Minds. And I want to clue you into a new documentary you can find. It's called After the Fall. Little did Bobby and I know we were both in New York the day of September 11. And this is his painstakingly put together documentary about that day. Bobby Chacon also helped fish the body, as I recall, dismembered in black plastic trash bags out of an icy lake. It was you. There you go. On top of that ice, trying to pull up the body parts of that Alaskan barista, Samantha Koenig. That was you, Bobby Chacon. What do you make of what Drew is telling us about how Israel Keys, the serial killer, will go all the way up to the point of the murder and then back off? And you know what I've noticed also, Bobby, as you and I have discussed, they very often won't admit that they sexually assaulted a victim, rape, sodomy, the whole thing. They leave that part out. It's like they're more worried about that than they are about the murder.
Yeah, it's really interesting where they draw the lines, right? Because they're so irrational when you try to figure out the lines they want to draw. In this particular case, when we were going up there to recover Samantha, we were told that she had been dismembered, and she was in 5 separate pieces weighted down. But we were also told that Keys made a demand that he did not want that part of it leaked. He didn't want the part that she had been dismembered leaked to the press. So we had to be very careful. Normally, when we recover a victim like this, we would bring each body part up in a separate body bag for the medical examiner. They don't like those commingled when they do their analysis. But in this case, we put Samantha all in one bag and brought it to the surface because the media was at the shorelines with cameras and stuff.